What's going on, guys? It's the Rambling Freak, Gregg Valentino here yet again. Getting it on with you. I'm actually filming this on my nose is peeling, my face is peeling, so if you see like peels and shit, it's because of I was burnt from a tanning bed. And now it's healing. Oh, but I'm actually filming this. It's really hot. It's the 4th of July, so you're going to see this a little bit after, but still, it's hot out. So I hope you're all hydrating yourself, because hydration is the most important thing, especially in this kind of weather. It's simple, man. All you need to do is drink water. I mean, it's you know, but there are people who just can't seem to do that, and that kind of shocks me. I put a little pinch of new salt, okay, which is, or some is also called no salt, but new salt comes in a blue shaker. A pinch of that is pure potassium. That's all it is. It's potassium chloride, okay? Or sometimes I'll put cream of tartar. But cream of tartar, which is potassium butyrate, I can't, it doesn't taste too good, but it is pure potassium as well. So, and then I'll put a pinch of pink Himalayan salt in the water, and that's a good way to keep yourself hydrated. So stop fucking around. Make sure you're hydrated, all right? Especially in this weather. It's an important thing. All right, listen. You know, recently we were talking a lot about, especially on my show, which is on every Monday night on the IronMag Labs Facebook channel, okay? Facebook page. 7 o'clock Eastern Time, New York City time, because that's where I live, alright? I have a show. Gregg Valentino Live, alright? The Momo Mafia show, whatever you want to call it. Still, it's me. It's live. Alright. And we talk a lot about Gold's Gym stuff, and, you know, I've been telling everybody, you know, Chris Griffin and I have talked about this, and, you know, I've talked about it with Dave Palumbo a million times, but the biggest bodybuilder ever is not Big Ramy. You guys think Big Ramy, and I know Greg Kovacs was a big motherfucker, but he was tall, and he was like a lumberjack. But pound for pound per square inch, nobody had more muscle than Victor Richards. Now, let me tell you something. Victor Richards, at 16 years old, he wasn't even doing steroids, and I think he had 20-inch arms. All right? I know some of you out there, you just can't, you can't fathom that. You can't fathom that a guy could be that big and be natural, but he was, okay, at 16 years old. Alright? Now, I've known Victor a very, very, very long time. And Victor was a fucking mass monster. His thighs measured 36 inches around. 36 inches. His arms were like 23. And this is like in 1981. Alright? I know him that long. I know Victor that long. Alright? And I'm going to tell you something. When he would walk in the gym, he was massive. His shoulder width was ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. Okay? Nobody matches Victor Richards. Now, I'm going to tell you, there was another guy who was massive when I was in the gym, in Gold's Gym in 1981, 82, 83, like that. And that was Rory Leidelmeyer. Now, Rory Leidelmeyer, we're talking about bodybuilding here. Now, I know a lot of people talk about, you know, Dave Palumbo did a video about Jeep Swenson, and I knew Jeep Swenson too. And Jeep Swenson was a big guy, but he was almost more like that guy Mountain. You know what I mean? He was like one of those guys that do the super heavyweights in the strongman competition at the Arnold Classic. He was more like one of those kind of guys. I didn't consider him like a bodybuilder, all right? He didn't have the quality muscle that like Victor Richards had. He was a wall of a man. He was huge. Yes, he was 400 pounds, okay? But he was also 6'4", or 6'5", whatever the hell he was. He was big. But nobody matches Victor Richards. I'm going to be honest with you. But Rory Leidelmeyer had that small, tapered waist. Almost looked like he had Frank Zane's build, but with a lot more mass. He had that long, like that beautiful tapered waist, a V-taper, and he had cannonball delts and giganto arms. His arms were like bowling balls. So it looked like a cannonball up here and a bowling ball here. He was huge. Okay, and we're talking about Rory Leidelmeyer. Now, if you don't know who he is, Google him. And this is back in 1981, before there was any of this IGF shit, and insulin, and all the funky growth hormone, and all that shit, you know, all the stuff that they got out of his arms, all that stuff, Synthol, all those shit. These guys were big, way ahead of their time. It's almost like Sergio Oliva, okay? Sergio Oliva had a 29-inch waist. And he was, you know, with 21, 22-inch arms, okay? This is in the 60s. These guys today, the only difference is they got big waists. You know, their legs are huge, but that's because they're bottom heavy, and they're also, but they proportionate-wise, they don't have this physique, you know, that Sergio Oliva had. A Big Ram, he's a big fucking guy, but when he turns around, you know, it's MIA. His back doesn't have the density that, you know, Doesn't have the thickness, the density to match out the width, right? He doesn't have the hamstrings or the calves to match the front of the thighs. His arms don't match up to, they're not with the rest of his body. You can't compare those guys. I'm not ripping Big Ramy apart. I actually like Big Ramy. I do like him. And I hope he wins the Olympia. I really do. He's not my pick, but I'm just saying, you can't compare. Those guys, Victor Richards, if he ever got his shit together and gave his shit enough to want to compete and win a big show, he had the structure. His calves were bigger than most guys' thighs. I'm telling you, you gotta Google him. If you don't know who he is, they used to call him Mr. Big. Even the pro bodybuilders respected Victor. All of them back then. Okay? When he walked in the gym, bro, you gotta see him when he's 16, Maron, The Gold's Gym back in the day was a madhouse. Okay? And again, I'm not taking anything away from Jeep Swenson. There's a big argument. Who was the biggest guy ever? A lot of people say Jeep Swenson. Big, he defined big. You understand? He talk about big, ripped, and veiny, and everything like that. Nah, he wasn't really like that. He was more like those big powerlifter guys, those big walls. You see it. Like that guy Mountain. So, that's just a little bit of the old Gold's Gym. It's a big argument we have, and a lot of people are attacking, and they don't understand when I talk about this. Yeah, Gold's Gym was definitely a good time. It was great out there. I used to see Burl Fox a lot in World's Gym, and he was pretty massive too, but he was pinched. He didn't have the shoulder width that these other guys had. We're talking about mass monsters today. I'm just talking about back in the Gold's Gym day, because see, I have the luxury of being in the gym and being able to say I saw Arnold in his prime, okay? I met Arnold first time in 1976, but I saw Arnold when he was young still, doing cable rows. And, we were in the gym, he was doing back when I saw him. I saw him doing, what else? I saw him doing delts and stuff. I'm telling you, it was amazing watching, in that era. And you guys, you can sit here, you can watch videos, but I was there. I was in the Gold's Gym, and I lived that era, okay? And I gotta tell you, it was a great time. World's Gym was phenomenal, okay? It was phenomenal because they don't play music, and I'm a little bit of a nut job. I kind of like it quiet like that. But the Gold's Gym was too fun to hang out at. It was just a crazy time. And the Barbarian Brothers, too, they were mass monsters for that time, but they didn't have any legs, so they'd be wearing jeans. You never saw them expose their legs. You never saw them in shorts. They started, they would always wear the big baggy pants and stuff, and they squatted. It wasn't that they didn't do legs, it's just their legs didn't respond like the upper body. Plus, they were big guys, too. They're not, they weren't short. They were big guys, there were some monsters at Gold's Gym. There were absolute monsters, but the days of Victor Richards and those kind of guys, you don't see those kind of guys anymore. I don't feel like these guys today put in the work that those guys put in. You're talking about guys who trained each body part 2-3 times a week. Today they'd be considered overtraining, and they all did high volume. Victor Richards, I used to see him he would be doing volume with heavy weights. I personally spotted him. He was using 250-pound dumbbells for incline flies. I spotted him. I saw it. I didn't even know they made dumbbells that high. 250-pound dumbbells. That's 500 fucking pounds. Okay? I had to spot him. He was doing it for reps. He did like 10 reps with that shit. When he would throw them on the floor, man, that fucking floor, the whole goddamn gym was made of cement, but the whole floor shook. It was 500 pounds, 250 one arm, 250. You couldn't see today. You got a few guys that are pretty strong today, but they ain't got the physique like that, and they can't crank out the reps like that. Okay. Ronnie Coleman used to be able to do that, but that all shows you that strength is relative. Because Ronnie Coleman could go and T-bar row 450 pounds, and he could do it like 12 times. All right? To him, that's not light. That's not heavy. To you, it's heavy. You can't take 450, but you couldn't even move the fucking thing. I couldn't either. All right? Maybe back in the day, I might be able to budge a little bit, but not like this. Not today, too fucking old. But the thing is, it just goes to show you, all right, the strength is relative. If a little three-year-old baby girl walked over and took a 35-pound dumbbell and she pressed it over her head, you go, holy shit, right? But if a grown-ass man did, they'd be like, come on, dude, what is a 35-pound dumbbell, really? You know what I mean? Heavy is relative. It all depends on how you look at things and how you, how you use the weight. To Ronnie Coleman trained with moderate weight. For him, it wasn't moderate weight for you and I. He used heavy-ass fucking weights, but he did them 10 to 12 to 15 reps with that. So for him, it wasn't heavy. For you and I, it'd be heavy, but for him, it was not heavy. Okay? So, it's just clearing up a few little things, I'm talking a lot about Victor Richards here, Mr. Big. Rory Leidelmeyer, again, was another one of a monster. Jeep Swenson was a monster, but Jeep Swenson looked more like a big, giant wall. Like more like that guy Mountain. You know what I mean? Like that, more than he looked like a bodybuilder. He didn't have the trim waist and, the V-taper. Yeah, he had broad shoulders, but he was 6'6", or whatever the frig he was. 6'4", 6'5", 6'8", all same shit. 400 pounds. But it wasn't, like that and stuff, It was more like, looked like a fucking refrigerator. Anyway. And he did have a little smack around with Tom Platz. You know what I mean? Tom Platz fucked around with his girl, his wife, and boom, boom, boom. Anyway. That was neither here nor there. I already told that story. We'll tell it another time. I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about my Gold's Gym. A little bit. We've talked about stuff like this before, but I want to touch base. I want you guys to really get a flavor of about true mass monsters. Victor Richards was, we talk about it all the time. Who was the greatest mass monster of all? Who's Victor Richards? 36 inches they measured his thighs around. And that wasn't even pumped. Okay? If pumped, they were probably like 38. It's not normal. If you cut his thigh like this, and you looked at it this way, it'd be like a 45-pound plate. Anyway, alright, I gotta watch my time here. This is Gregg Valentino telling you guys, listen, I love you guys, man. Alright? I love you. Keep watching these videos. If you got any ideas, throw them in the comments here. If you want to hear me talk about something, throw them in the comments. I'll listen to what you have to say. I love you guys, man. I'm just trying to help. Alright? This is Gregg Valentino telling you, stop fucking around. Be good to your girl. Be good to your significant other, whatever your spin is, okay? Obviously, always treat your kids good. They come first. This is a lifestyle. Don't get illusions of grandeur. You're not going to be the next Arnold. You don't want to be the next Arnold. This is a different era, different time. Ain't happening. Alright? I'm not shitting on your parade either. But let's, got to be realistic. Anyway. There's only one Arnold, bro. Okay? And Arnold's Arnold. Alright, I love you. Stop fucking around. See you in the next video.